My sister died, my grandfather died, and Big Pun died the same week.
I lost like 6 friends last year to heart attacks.
I was depressed seeing a psychiatrist for 2 years.
Even in that brief exchange, the tension of hip-hop culture is visible. Why did Redman feel compelled to label Hammer as corny? Online reactions suggest that by the early 90s, Hammer represented a different side of rap, bright, choreographed, mainstream-friendly. Yet Method Man's casual praise hinted at a respect Hammer still commanded among peers. Allegedly, Hammer's influence ran deeper than critics admitted, bridging old-school lyricism with the visual flair of performance. This moment, small as it seems, foreshadowed the cultural rift that would shape Hammer's career.
When Pun passed away, I went through depression. But I'm not just saying depression lightly, real depression. It was him, my sister, and my grandfather at the same time. So I was going through so much and everybody doubted me.
Hammer's public image has long been reduced to memes and nostalgia, but according to public sources, that shallow portrayal misses the full picture. Behind the bright outfits and catchy hooks, Hammer was a pioneer of loyalty in hip-hop. Fans speculate that his generosity wasn't just personal, it shaped careers he often invested in friends, family, and collaborators before thinking of himself. That same commitment, while noble, reportedly created financial strain and complicated relationships. Loyalty, in Hammer's case, became a double-edged sword, a force that uplifted others but eventually tested his empire.
That was when, I've told this story before, is when my sister died, my grandfather died, and Big Pun died the same week. Wow. So it was like 3 in a row.
East Oakland in the 1960s and 70s was a place that demanded resilience. According to public sources, Hammer's upbringing was chaotic yet nurturing, surrounded by 8 siblings, a hard-working mother, and a father balancing multiple jobs just to keep the family fed. Allegedly, these early experiences forged a mindset of relentless effort. Fans speculate that this environment didn't just shape Hammer's work ethic, it created a man determined to lift everyone around him. That same drive would later fuel his meteoric rise, yet it would also expose him to pitfalls of fame, loyalty, and financial overextension.
That made me get depressed. I was depressed seeing a psychiatrist for 2 years. I gained a lot of weight, started drinking, I just went through a lot because it was hard for me.
Hammer's philosophy set him apart in an industry often driven by ego and profit. According to public sources, his spiritual grounding influenced not only how he spent his fortune, but also how he treated people around him. Fans speculate that this values-driven approach inspired the generosity he extended to friends, family, and even employees. Allegedly, Hammer prioritized community uplift over personal wealth, a choice that would later contribute to his financial downfall, but also cemented his reputation as a genuinely caring figure in hip-hop. Even as the media mocked him, insiders reportedly admired his commitment to principles over profit.
One day we was doing a Big Pun mural. Shout out the Tats crew, they just did it over in the Bronx. And 2 dudes walked by. And then one dude was like, yo, they doing the Big Pun wall. And then the other dude was like, where? He was like, yeah, they do it all the time. It's been 2 years since he died. Then I heard 2 years. And that's when I snapped out of it. Because I was like, yo, it's 2 years, bro. You got to wake up.
MC Hammer's ambition was bigger than personal success. It was a community mission. Allegedly, he invested in countless friends, cousins, and neighbors, trying to create pathways out of struggle for those who had none. Public sources suggest he believed that wealth should be shared, that his rise could lift others simultaneously. Fans speculate this loyalty, while noble, amplified his vulnerability. Every paycheck, every gift, every home he purchased added layers of financial and emotional responsibility. And as the pressures of fame mounted, these obligations became increasingly unsustainable. What started as love and generosity, ultimately, would collide with the harsh realities of business and mainstream expectations.
6 funerals I went to last year for, they look healthy to me. They was just like me. They was telling jokes like me. They was cool like me. You know what I'm saying? And they all died.
Hammer's upbringing, according to public sources, was a masterclass in resilience. Fans speculate that growing up in such a crowded, high-energy household instilled in him a unique combination of discipline and adaptability. Every day demanded ingenuity, finding ways to contribute, survive, and stand out. Allegedly, these early lessons weren't just about survival, they were preparation for a future stage that required stamina, charisma, and relentless hustle. The very challenges he faced as a child would later shape his approach to fame, finances, and loyalty, giving him both the drive to succeed and the vulnerability to overextend himself for those he cared about.
Weight loss. Like, I don't even recognize you right now. Like, yo, how many pounds?
Like 100 pounds.
100 pounds.
100 pounds. I dropped the body on him, man.
From an early age, Hammer internalized lessons most of his peers never faced. According to public sources, watching his parents stretch every dollar left a lasting impression on him. Fans speculate that these formative experiences fueled a relentless drive that later defined his career. Allegedly, the same tenacity that helped him rise to global fame also made him take on extreme responsibilities for others. This wasn't recklessness. It was a learned sense of obligation, a belief that if he could succeed, no one he cared about would have to struggle. Yet, as history shows, even the strongest drive can be tested when fame, fortune, and loyalty collide.
They do to you if you go to work out, is if your man work out, so God, you big, and they throw the biggest weights on you. You never going back.
Don't need that.
You don't need that cardio walking. Then the elliptical's good on your knees. Before you know it, all you need is a weight.
That early hustle, seemingly small, reportedly laid the foundation for Hammer's entrepreneurial mindset. Fans speculate that these childhood ventures taught him not only the value of money, but also the importance of creating opportunities where none existed. Public sources note that Hammer's charisma and resourcefulness were evident even then. He could connect with people, sell a product, and turn a simple idea into income. Allegedly, this instinct for self-starting would echo throughout his career, from starting busted productions in a basement to managing a massive entourage and overseeing multi-million-dollar projects. What looked like a child's game was actually the training ground for a future global icon.
I feel like I need to call you Lil Joe. Like, I don't even know if I should call you Fat Joe anymore, man. You look
Still
great.
Fat Joe. I represent for the big people.
You look amazing.
I left, it's funny you said this because I was thinking about this earlier. I left the name Fat Joe because I want to be able to inspire people, to remind them of how big I was and how I was able to lose weight, that they're able to lose weight as well.
This moment, according to public sources, was pivotal. Fans speculate that being recognized by someone as influential as Finley gave Hammer a tangible sense of identity and validation. Allegedly, the nickname Hammer wasn't just playful. It symbolized a path to recognition beyond the streets of Oakland. Beyond baseball, the clubhouse experience reportedly taught him teamwork, discipline, and showmanship. Observing athletes, Hammer learned timing, presentation, and dedication, skills he would later translate into music and performance. Even at this early stage, it was clear Hammer had a presence that could command attention, and this recognition would eventually fuel his journey from local hustler to international superstar.
I had an accountant. Every month I'm sending them wire transfers. Well, wire transfers from your bank account to them is a paper trail. I'm sending them money to pay my taxes and everything every month. 25,000, 40,000, 25,000, big money. I had to go call Pitbull. Pitbull gave me his account right around here. It was still my account. To this day, when I went there, this is bad. This man pay your taxes in 2 years.
Hammer's time in the Navy, according to public sources, was a unique blend of discipline and self-expression. Fans speculate that the structured environment honed his work ethic, while his nights of dancing and writing cultivated creativity and performance skills. Allegedly, juggling these two worlds taught Hammer resilience and time management at a young age. He wasn't the typical recruit. He was quietly building his craft while fulfilling obligations, a pattern that would later define his approach to fame. This period reinforced a philosophy that success requires both structure and passion, a lesson Hammer would carry into the music industry, where discipline and flair became inseparable in his rise to stardom.
So once Pun died, I went on to diet and lost like 100, but that was, I didn't know what I know now. You know what I'm saying? So So that ran its course to that 350, 360 going up and down like that. And then I just had to turn it up because, you know, I lost like 6 friends last year to heart.
Hammer's leap into the music industry illustrates his relentless determination. According to public sources, this was more than ambition. It was a calculated gamble, fueled by trust and belief from those who recognized his potential. Fans speculate that borrowing money from former athletes wasn't merely a financial move. It was an endorsement of Hammer's character and vision. Allegedly, Hammer poured every ounce of creativity, energy, and charisma into Busted Productions, promoting locally, connecting with communities, and building grassroots support. This early success wasn't luck. It was the foundation for a career that would redefine the boundaries of hip-hop, setting the stage for the global explosion that was about to come. The success of his first independent album was just the spark. By 1990, when Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em hit the shelves, the world witnessed more than a musician. They witnessed a phenomenon. Reportedly, 18 million albums sold globally, but numbers alone cannot capture the scale of his reach. Every performance, every music video, every appearance was a carefully orchestrated display of energy, charisma, and innovation. Fans speculate that Hammer's approach transformed the public perception of hip-hop, taking it from a primarily underground culture to a mainstream global spectacle. He wasn't merely performing, he was creating a cultural blueprint. His dance moves, spinning, sliding, the iconic shuffle, became a language all their own. According to public sources, children in the streets of Oakland, suburban schools, and cities across the globe tried to mimic the rhythm and precision of Hammer's choreography talent. Shows, parties, even casual gatherings became stages for his influence. Beyond the music, Hammer's brand extended to Saturday morning cartoons, dolls, lunchboxes, and Pepsi commercials, embedding his persona into daily life. Fans speculate that few artists, particularly in hip-hop, have managed to translate talent into such widespread cultural presence so quickly. But as his fame expanded, so did the complexity of his responsibilities. At the height of his success, Hammer purchased a sprawling 55-acre property in Fremont, California. The mansion that already stood was not enough. Hammer rebuilt it into a 40,000-square-foot palace. Italian marble floors, gold-plated gates engraved with Hammer Time, a pool shaped like his signature pants, a bowling alley, a baseball diamond, private recording studio, movie theater, 17-car garage, and even gold-plated fixtures reflected not only ambition, but also the immense scale of his vision. Reportedly, hundreds of thousands of dollars flowed monthly just to maintain the estate, and yet the mansion alone was only the surface layer of his empire. The larger challenge was his people. Allegedly, Hammer never forgot those who helped him rise. His payroll reportedly included 200 individuals, childhood friends, cousins, dancers, bodyguards, assistants, all receiving salaries with roles that were sometimes undefined. Fans speculate that this generosity was both his strength and his vulnerability. Hammer's dedication to his community created stability for many, but it also created financial obligations that compounded as his fame grew. He didn't just provide jobs, he offered homes, cars, gifts, tuition, and support. According to public sources, the man who had once hustled to earn pennies now carried the weight of dozens of lives on his shoulders voluntarily. As the industry evolved, Hammer's bright, positive image increasingly contrasted with the emerging dominance of gritty, street-driven rap. Reportedly, the early 90s saw a shift in hip-hop, moving from fun, dance-heavy tracks toward themes of struggle, aggression, and authenticity. Defined by hardship, critics and peers alike began to mock Hammer publicly. Redman's comments, among others, exemplified the broader cultural tension, a space where Hammer's mainstream appeal was labeled commercial, soft, or corny, despite the man's roots in East Oakland and a proven ability to defend himself when challenged. Fans speculate that this shift in perception added pressure, creating an environment where fame alone could not sustain an empire built on loyalty and generosity. By the mid-1990s, the financial reality collided with the public perception. Tours, lavish productions, and a massive entourage generated expenses that reportedly outpaced income. Albums no longer sold at the same diamond-level rates, and every payroll, mortgage, and operational cost weighed heavily. Public sources indicate that by 1996, Hammer faced millions in debt, lawsuits from vendors and employees, tax obligations, and even creditors who had previously supported him. The IRS, state agencies, and multiple companies were involved, turning a narrative of triumph into one of survival. Allegedly, the empire he had built out of love for others was now at risk of collapse. Yet, what is remarkable about Hammer is not the fall itself, but how he responded. Even amid bankruptcy and public mockery, he did not publicly assign blame. Comment sections and interviews from that period reveal a man reflective rather than reactive. "I had too much money and not enough sense," he reportedly said, summarizing both the triumphs and missteps of his journey. Fans speculate that this humility, this ability to internalize lessons without bitterness, marks him as unique in a culture often defined by ego and confrontation. The narrative of ruin, of flashy loss, obscures the quiet dignity with which he approached recovery. Hammer's rebirth came not through luck, but deliberate action. He embraced faith, becoming a Pentecostal minister and focusing on family, community, and personal growth. According to public sources, he worked with inmates, youth programs, and families, channeling resources and attention to areas that had once nurtured him. At the same time, Hammer engaged with technology and business in a methodical way, attending conventions, learning to code, advising startups, and investing in early platforms like Twitter, Square, and Pandora. Fans speculate that these efforts demonstrated the same ingenuity he had shown selling baseballs outside the Coliseum, scaled now to a global digital economy. Slowly, Hammer rebuilt stability. Debts were addressed, a modest home replaced the palace, and the focus shifted from spectacle to sustainability. Reportedly, he remained active in music and media, appearing in documentaries and television programs, sharing lessons learned, and shaping a narrative that combined cautionary wisdom with resilience. Allegedly, he became a symbol of endurance, a reminder that the measure of success is not only wealth, but the ability to recover and rebuild with integrity. Culturally, Hammer's influence persists beyond his financial trials. He paved the way for hip-hop artists to access brand partnerships, mainstream audiences, and corporate collaborations. Public sources suggest that without his pioneering efforts, the landscape of pop rap success and artist entrepreneurship might look fundamentally different. His story, fans speculate, is not simply one of fame and fall, but a blueprint for how ambition, loyalty, and generosity can intersect to create both opportunity and risk. The irony, critics note, is that the very traits that enabled Hammer to lift others, his openness, generosity, and unwavering loyalty, were the same traits that left him exposed when the industry and economy shifted. Allegedly, he overextended not from recklessness, but from a profound sense of duty to people he loved and communities he cared about. Yet through it all, Hammer never abandoned the principles that defined him: faith, family, and the drive to create. And even today, beyond the parachute pants and viral memes, the truth is clear. MC Hammer wasn't just a performer or a pop culture moment. He was a visionary, a man who risked everything for others, who embraced both the highs and lows of life with resilience, and who ultimately redefined what it means to fail and rise again. Fans continue to debate, comment sections speculate, and culture acknowledges that his legacy is as much about character as it is about music. And don't go anywhere. Click the next video you see on your screen for even more juicy celebrity chaos, betrayals, and stories Hollywood doesn't want you to know. See you in the next one.